Did you have a Shamash in your menorah? We were discussing this. Someone asked me why you have a Shamash. There was a local rabbi here. Well, again, this is always the hawk. You don't need a Shamash if you're lighting your Hanukkah candles outside, right? Because they're for show. So the Shamash was invented because people were lighting their candles indoors, so that to show that they're not using it for use. It's not being used. It's just for show because that's what Hanukkah candles are about. They created the Shamash. Years later, people start creating menorahs. A menorah has a certain aesthetic to it, the temple aesthetic. What's the temple aesthetic? Central branch and branching off of it in a symmetric pattern. There's no halacha that requires such a thing. People do it because it looks nice. There's a certain hidur to it. It's not a hidur that the sages talked about. The sages talked about the amount of candles you have. But it still looks very nice, and it is reminiscent of the temple. So we have a Shamash. Then we take such a menorah outside, and we light it outdoors like we're supposed to. And people like me have a Shamash. So why do you have a Shamash? This rabbi argued that yes, a Shamash is unnecessary. Shkoyach. Many people have argued that. He said no, you should stop doing it. Why? Bal tashchis. You're wasting olive oil or your fuel, whatever it is, on your Shamash. Now that's a weak argument. Why is that a weak argument? Because we believe that if you are sufficiently wealthy that you can have candles, you could spare another candle or another few drops of olive oil for the aesthetic approach. Just like you invest in, let's say, a silver menorah or whatever it is to have it look good. Or though my son decided, I got him a glass box in which to put his menorahs, and he didn't like the way it was looking. He just removed them from the glass box and started arranging the candles in decorative ways. He's very clever in his box. So putting a shamash in the middle that's higher than the other candles still maintains that aesthetic, which is totally fine, by the way. Now, everybody knows it's a shamash. It's not one of the actual Hanukkah candles. So there's no problem with it. And whether or not it's Baal Tashchis, so maybe you should start telling women who are lighting more Shabbos candles than necessary, we don't need any candles in the house because we have electric lights. Yeah, but it's an aesthetic to it. The woman says the bracha. Here's what you should do, by the way. A woman says the bracha on lighting the candles, and then she makes sure to turn on all the lights that she intends to have around the house for Shabbos. Otherwise, it's almost a bracha levatala. But the point is, you're allowed to, if you have the means, to invest in aesthetics. It is okay to do such thing, to use up a little bit of wax. How much does a single tea light that we light? By the way, I use tea lights for everything. So I pay about 9 shekels for 50 tea lights. So 9 divided by 50 is what? I don't know. The two. Somebody know calculus around here? What is that? I don't know. It's very little money. Okay, it's a few agorot per candle, and we can spare it. Okay, so it's fine to do that.